Morning Lion Countdown to Kickoff brought to you by Children's Health, Andrews Institute of Orthopedic and Sports Medicine. Tonight, it is Prestonwood and TC Addison as we continue with the player interviews. Good one to get us started. We'll try to do better here, can we? We'll find out as Colt Hillhouse steps in, a big tackle for this Lion offensive unit. We've heard so much praise for this group all season long, the way you guys have played, the way you're developed. How's it been from your perspective as far as what you've done in the team as a whole?
Well, from my perspective, I think, as an O-line, for what size we have and what experience we have, we still have a lot to work on as an entire O-line. Our team chemistry as an O-line is not there, I don't think yet, but there's still a lot of stuff we can improve on, and we're already good, but we're here. I think we can be so much better up here, but, it's just – from my part and from my perspective, I just got to keep encouraging the guys, keep on doing what I'm doing, keep my head down and say yes sir, no sir.
Give us specifics on things that you could improve of because you're in the game, but for someone who's tuned in right now saying, well, what are you trying to get better at?
I'm most certainly trying to get her at my pass sets because I've always been a strong run blocker. I've always focused on that since my sophomore and junior year, but my pass sets, I've been getting to focus on that, especially since I've been switched to right side this year. Right side has been kind of challenging since I played left side for 2 years on varsity. It's very complicated, when you're in one stance for so long, for 2 years, and then you go to another stance for this year when I got to play right tackle in the spring. I was horrible at my pass sets, but my run sets were strong. So I just focused on that more and just keep on doing what I'm doing.
Compare Colt Hillhouse, the senior, to the one that started a couple of years ago on varsity.
So this year I'm a lot more like a goldfish. If I have a bad play, I'm like, hey, I'll bounce back, which I've been doing a really good job of that. Sophomore year, it was all up in my head. I was all like, if I had a bad play, I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm just this bad at football. But I've learned through over the years, like, hey, don't one bad play get you wrong, because everybody's gonna have a bad play once in their career, right? Whether it's Tom Brady or whether it's just a sophomore varsity guy playing for a high school team.
Now you started playing football as a seventh grader at PCA. Take us back to the beginning. What was that like?
Oh, man, back in the glory days. Well, I didn't know what I was doing from the start. I remember our first scrimmage, seventh grade year. I haven't played a lick of football. I was like, all right, I'm going to try this thing out. So I go in there. I'm thinking I'm at right guard. I'm playing against this guy. I used to go to – he was in sixth grade here. I just get blown up in the backfield. He makes a TFL on me. I'm like, whoa, this football stuff is not cut out for me. But, I decided to stick with it, through middle school and through my freshman year. I was like, I'm going to stick with it again. And I just kept on, hardly working in the weight room, and my hard work paid off.
Well, part of that was bulking up a little bit on the JV. You're probably a little bit on the skinny side, and then you went to a specific program to get you ready and get you bulked up. What was it?
Well, I just ate everything in sight, there was not a thing that I didn't eat, and that's how I gained so much weight. I was just constantly hitting the weight room, and I didn't think about, like, my future. I was just like, I'm going to just keep my head down and work hard, and then all of a sudden I gained so much weight.
But the whole milk was a part of it,
yeah,
right?
Whole milk, yes, sir. That? Yes, sir. Whole milk and peanut butter. Those are my go-tos.
But you gained like 100 pounds quickly. How did you proportion that well?
Well, I don't think I really did, but as the off-season went on for freshman to sophomore year, I just kept hitting it in the weight room, like I said before. I just didn't really notice it until it come around sophomore year spring ball. I was like, hey, I'm actually like big now. I can actually have a chance against these varsity guys, and so and I was just like getting used to my new body sophomore year, trying to move, trying to, do all the things. Obviously I had some quote unquote injuries that kind of, set me back, but it was just kind of tough getting used to that new body, but I liked it though.
Now, off the field, just to kind of set the scene for the fans viewing tonight, you were born into a ministry family. Your dad, Justin, is on the missions and men's pastor group. Your mom, Audrey, serves in the worship staff at Cottonwood Creek Church. And, that's kind of a good foundation to get started, either even athletically, academically, anything. So how important was that for you?
I think it was very important for me, especially for my younger life, because I've always been around, super religious parents, and they've always disciplined me to be the best I can be, and I thank them for that. I think I could not have any better parents I would ask for. And so, my dad being a pastor, watching him, be a role model, like Jesus kind of. But and watching my mom too. My mom's also working in the church right now with my dad, and she's a super religious person. And they're like, "Hey, honor God with your mind and soul and your heart." And I think they've just been huge role models for me. Think of what I can do to be like them, to be disciplined, hardworking, and passionate about what they do, and not just for them, but for others.
Being a kid of someone in the ministry, it's kind of like being a military kid. You get moved around. You had several moves that you went through before you moved back to Plano in 2019, and it was specifically to be a part of Prestonwood, right?
Yes, sir. That is correct. We moved out to the small town of Jacksboro for my dad's job as a pastor. He took a senior pastor job there in Jacksboro Community Church, I think. Well, I don't know. I don't remember the name. But I was there for 3rd through 5th grade, and I came back here 6th grade. But to be honest, I didn't really like it out there. There's nothing to do. But when I came back to Plano, everything was back here, I got used to it, and it's just, everything's right here, out there you had to drive 30 minutes to Walmart, it was not that. But again, back to my parents, for role modeling, it's just for them, for them to go out there so far away from what we're already used to, for them to sacrifice to build and plant a seed over there in Jacksboro.
But as soon as you could drive, you were ready to bring your friends and be a part of the PCA family, right?
Oh, yes, sir. I was eager to drive.
Let's talk about your older sister, Emily, sophomore at Dallas Baptist, and your bonus sister, Katie. Now, that's an interesting story in itself. So you got a couple of girls and a big dude in the family. How do you fit into that?
Well, I've always been, outmatched at the dinner table when we disagree on something. Me and my dad are on one side, and, they're on the other side. We're like, oh, we think this, oh, no, we think that. We always get outvoted, but we're always right. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. And we mentioned Emily and Katie. The cool story about her, she's a freshman at Baylor, is lived with your family as an exchange student from Vietnam. What was that like?
Yeah, it was interesting for the first couple weeks. It was weird, I would say that, because having another person living in your house, you're supposed to treat them like your quote-unquote sister, It was kind of weird first on, but, I think God really had a plan for that and for her. All of a sudden, a year ago, she just started, being a sister to me, and now I'm messing around with her like I've known her for 17 years.
Well, you stole the point that I was going to make, that she calls you her brother, and that you guys are like siblings. I assume is that the good part and the bad part too? Do you squabble sometimes?
We do squabble sometimes. Yeah. Yes, sir. Just a little bit.
All right, so things you like to do when you're not playing football: hunting, fishing, shooting guns, riding four-wheelers. That's kind of what every dude likes to do. Which is your favorite?
Oh, I say hunting. Hunting is a big nostalgic feel for me, because me and my grandpa, he's had this ranch out in East Texas. We always go hunt there, in December, especially in middle school when football ended. We always went out there. We always went to go shoot something, at least something, and that's a nostalgic feel for me. And that's partly why I like Christmas so much, is because I just have that feel of I'm with my grandparents. I get to do whatever I want. It was a great time.
And this summer, you finally beat your dad at shooting trap?
Yes, I did. Fair and square, by the way. No cheating, no nothing. He got his butt whooped, so,
Who's Timmy?
Timmy?
You shot Timmy, and Timmy's hanging out?
Oh, yeah. Timmy. Oh, my gosh.
It's not a person, folks.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah.
But, Timmy was a deer. it was the second or first deer I shot, and seemed like a good deer, and so I named him Timmy. This was back in like 8th or 9th grade, I think, and we mounted it up in my room. I called him Timmy now, or Tim. Oh, I forgot about that. That's a blast from the past there. So yeah.
So tell me about the Hillhouse 4th of July fireworks show out at your ranch.
Oh boy. So my dad started this like 2 or 3 years ago. So one year, we invited like everybody down to my grandpa's ranch to shoot off fireworks, and my dad supposedly bought like $2,000 worth of fireworks. And so the show literally went on for about like 30, 40 minutes. And keep in mind, we didn't pay a company to do this. This was all us. And so we were just lighting mortars every single second. We had this huge, like 6 by 6 box, 6 feet by 6 feet box of just shells in there. And we take them and drop them in. It was a fun time. We did that for like 2 years. Yeah, it was a really great time.
That sounds awesome. So for a guy that loves to be on the water, the lake, the beach, wherever you can find that, I'm told that if you had your choice, you'd like to be a certified scuba instructor and just live full-time in the Caribbean. That'd be fine with you?
Oh, yeah, that would be completely fine, being on the beach, getting that tan on, seeing the ladies walk by, you know what I'm saying? I really like the ocean. I used to be scared of it, but now I really like the ocean, seeing God's creation.
Looking ahead, possibly a degree in business or kinesiology, what is in your future?
I think it's all God's plan. I don't really know what I'm going to major in, but business kinesiology, I took an internship with Coach Brian, our weight room coach for football, during last semester, and I learned a lot about kinesiology, and I was fascinated by it. And I was like, hey, maybe, I'm a big weight room guy. Maybe, that would be a career for me when I get older.
It sounds like that would be a heck of a plan. Well, just like we talked a minute ago with Trot, the fact that being at PCA, being a part of this family, what has that meant to you?
I think it's opened up a lot of doors, I would say. It's a Christian bubble being here at PCA. I went to public school third and fifth grade. I was not used to hospitality when I would come into a school. And when I came here at PCA, it opened up a lot of doors. Hey, these are really nice people. And I got to know a lot of people. Do a lot of things that I'm impressed by the school. Hey, maybe being a Christian, this doesn't sound so bad, because I had some doubts in my faith, obviously, when I went to public school as a young kid, hearing all these different worldviews. But PCA has reassured me that, Christianity is, the superior faith, It's led me to believe, more strongly in my faith.
Colt, it's been a pleasure visiting with you. Thanks for the time. Good luck tonight and the rest of the season.
Yes, sir. Thanks. You too.
That is Colt Hillhouse. You'll see him on the offensive line, the big right tackle, as the Lions get set to take on TC Addison tonight. Well, that does it for the player interviews, but we've got plenty more to head toward kickoff tonight. We'll have the Donnie Yantis show coming up in just a bit, but David will rejoin me, and we'll talk about some things to get you ready for this one. After this timeout, remember, you're listening and viewing the Countdown to Kickoff, and it's brought to you, of course, by the Andrews Institute, and we'll have more right after this timeout.